let's make some pies.
From the White House to the Slaughterhouse, former White House chef Bill Yosses has many mouths to feed. But this time around, they aren't politicians or presidents.
Let me show you where the meat is.
His new patrons have an appetite for two things: theater and blood. You have to wonder if there's a top secret to this recipe. An ingredient no one knows about, except for the New York City baker himself.
This is one of Michelle and my favorite people.
After all, former President Barack Obama once quipped the retired White House executive pastry chef's pies were laced with drugs.
We call Bill the crust master because his pies, I don't know what he does, whether he puts crack in them or...
This is his kitchen in New York City, where all his mouth-watering meals are made. His online business, Perfect Pies, is housed here. It's a much smaller space from what Bill's used to at 1600 Pennsylvania Avenue, where he worked for 8 years, serving George W. Bush and Barack Obama. What was it like baking for the presidents?
It's the one thing they agree on. There's probably no two different philosophies than the two presidents I served, but they both love pie, I have to say.
Bill trained in classical French cooking under famous chefs like David Goulet and Charlie Trotter. In 2007, he landed the coveted gig of cooking for the First Family. He also spent time working on Michelle Obama's Let's Move campaign.
What was both presidents' biggest weakness when it came to desserts?
Actually, peach pie, I would have to say. If I had served peach pie every night to George W. Bush, I think I would have been fine. I would have gotten a little bored, but he wouldn't. And President Barack Obama as well, he loved those summer fruits like farmers markets fruits baked into a pie.
How different is your life now than what it was working in the White House?
Well, I have less security to worry about. I think at the White House, I learned a certain level of theatricality, if we can say that. I mean, it's a set, maybe the most famous set in the world, and every step of the way is very kind of scripted, like what is going to be said, when it's going to happen. So I really feel like I had a good preparation for the theater by being in the White House.
He mentions the theater because many of the pies Bill makes after a day in the kitchen are delivered to a theater turned pie shop. They're for a pre-show dinner to the off-Broadway performance of Sweeney Todd. The musical centers around a demonic barber who chops up his customers. To hide the bodies, pie maker Mrs. Lovett cooks up baked goods with the evidence.
Welcome to the pie shop.
Audiences come salivating for a taste of what's supposed to be, according to the show, the worst pies in London.
I was a little nervous to eat the pie.
Just didn't want to see any eyeballs.
A little leery to begin with, but it was pretty tasty, I have to admit.
I just hope I'm not in tomorrow night's menu.
Of course, Bill doesn't really use human flesh. Then again, there is a cemetery across the street from his pie shop.
Two beautiful meat pies.
I'm Leigh Scheps for InsideEdition.com.